Good morning, good morning. Thought a little evolution of the chanting this morning from yesterday. So, a little bit of the Heart Sutra mantra, if you're not familiar with it. Gate, gate, para gate, pare sangate, bodhiswaha. And points to the emptiness we were speaking about earlier in the week, and that quality of a kind of a sort of vast, radiant absence, which sounds negating, but it's not. A vast, radiant kind of it's sort of a vastness, like the vastness of the universe as the essence of everything that appears in form. Beautiful. All right, good morning. It's a little chilly here this morning. I'm going to put my shawl on. So we've been sitting together. We'll sit together again today. But we've also just been giving a little time in the mornings to exploring just what I've been calling various sort of misconceptions or misunderstandings that go along with views, beliefs about Dharma practice. And just reflecting a little bit on those. And yesterday we spoke about the tendency to view Dharma practice as a kind of personal and even sometimes just as a psychological process. And we looked at, how the limitations of that and how our lives, and therefore our practice, because our practice can't be anything other than our life, right? How our lives and our practices are embedded actually in land and lineage and ancestry and community, and how important that is as the context of our practice, rather than it being something that I do just personally, or sometimes we talk about these kind of things as inner work. There's a certain amount of that, but it's not more inner than outer. And in fact, the tendency to divide up inner and outer is a big part of the problem anyway. That we conceive ourselves, our interiority gets so much reinforcement that we live with the pressures of my interiority, my inner. And we feel estranged from life. The inner feels estranged from the outer. And a lot of us, if we really look, whatever our particular story, whatever our particular issues, if we really look, our sort of core wound or pain is our estrangement from life. It's like the longing that we have, whether we seek that in relationship or in our career or in food or in oblivion of various kinds, whatever we seek it in. It's like our core longing is to dissolve the estrangement between inner and outer, to dissolve the gap that we perceive or that we make up between me and life. So we looked at that a little bit yesterday, and this morning is sort of somewhat of a continuation of that, but I thought I'd just reflect a little bit on the way we then, in a similar vein, the way we tend to see meditation as it's all about meditation. Meditation is what my practice is. I hear that a lot from people. They say, I did my practice this morning, and then and I'm like, what? And then what? What happened then? What about now? What about the other moments? And we say that. And I know what people mean when they say that. But often what we're unconsciously maybe equating this meditation business. This looks like practice, right? And I do it for a time in the morning, etc., etc. And it's like, oh yeah, it's very recognizable. And of course, it's beautiful. It's important. It's just an amazing way to train your mind and explore your experience and open your senses and be present, and to therefore generate the faculties that we need to be awake and contemplative and exploratory and non-reactive or less reactive in the rest of our lives. But you can't reduce all the depth and breadth and potency of Dharma practice to just sitting on your ass in the morning, right? So there are various models in the Buddhist tradition for a full spectrum practice. One of those models is Sila Samadhi Panya, or Dana Sila Samadhi. Dana means generosity. This is like describing a full spectrum practice in 3 branches. Dana, first one of those. It's cultivating generosity, the wish and the follow through to support, to care, to offer. And that's such an important movement in life, that we find some place in our lives where we can support and care and contribute and offer our resources, whatever those resources are, right? Money, but also our time, our care, our skill, our listening, our support in all kinds of different ways. So Dana, Sila, Samadhi. Meditation is only part of that third one, Samadhi, right? It means, in this case, means training. Right? Actually training it, or practices, really. So first, Dana, actually cultivating generosity, support, offering. Right? Actually, that sense that literally opens one's heart and one's sensitivity to the world. And then the second one, Sila. Sila means conduct, really. It's like, actually the way to have a conduct that's aimed around respect and non-harm, conduct that influences our actions of body, speech, and mind. Right? That's a practice, right? So it's that to get up from meditation and go to the boulangerie. You don't get up from your practice and go to the boulangerie. No, you get up from meditation and you go to your boulangerie, and the greeting of the boulanger and I know not all of you have boulangers, but hey, I live in France. The way you greet the bakery person, the way you remember, they're a human, rather than, that automaticness of the bus conductor or whoever it is, that you encounter on your way to work, maybe, or colleagues. The way we reduce people to being very 2-dimensional or even 1-dimensional. They're just that that thing there that's giving me my bread or taking my bus ticket or whatever. And so the way we remember to open our eyes, open our heart to this more than 3-dimensional, this multi-dimensional being, right? 3-dimensional spatially, but then they've got the dimension of, they've got a human heart, human concerns. They've got human challenges and human sorrows and human confusions and human joys, just like me. Right? They're as multi-dimensional, as multifaceted, as complex, as sensitive as I am. And they may have shared political affiliations with me, or they may have opposite political affiliations. Right? They may look like me, or they might look very different from me. They might speak the same language as me, or they might not. They might come from the same country as me, or they might not. And how easily, just to be awake to the way we reduce people to categories, and then we overlay our assumptions about those categories. And of course, in its extreme form, that's what racism and homophobia and misogyny and all, that's what that is, right? It's just, you don't see the person, you see the category. And then you see the category through your assumptions about that category. But we're all doing that all the time, and it may not come out in those extreme forms. So you probably don't consider yourself, right, to be racist, misogynistic, homophobic, etc., etc. I hope not. But you can probably see the same tendency to categorize, to make assumptions. Right? So it's like, conduct, how we speak, how we act, how we consider people, what we project. That's all part of that Sila. And then the Samadhi, meditation practice, etc. So that's a conception of Dharma practice, where meditation is an important feature, but it's one feature embedded in a multifaceted practice. Dana, Sila, Samadhi, and then you've got the Eightfold Path, right? There's another model of that. And then these 8 different branches of the what which is being cultivated. And again, you can find meditation within those 8, but there's plenty of other things as well. And the first one really is to cultivate your thinking. We're often down on thinking, but no, to wise thinking, wise consideration. Right? It's often translated as right view, but what that really means is to cultivate the art of reflecting deeply, of considering and thinking about the way reality is, the way oneself is, and one's habits. Right? Reflecting on teachings, and actually giving thought. And when you walk under the sunshine or on the street, or like at the moment, it's springtime in the Northern Hemisphere, and just the greening and the growing and the aliveness. And you can just think, oh, that's pretty. Or you can contemplate. You can let your view of life, it's, oh, this is reality, showing me its effulgence. Right? Showing me the kind of the inherent intelligence that underpins all of matter and the whole cosmos. So you cultivate your reflection, cultivate your understanding and your intentions. Just that sense of cultivating your intention, noticing your intention. Often people realize they've got some self-interest in their intention. Oh, I'm actually a bit, I want something from this. And then they feel down on themselves as if they should have some purely altruistic intention. If you wait for purely altruistic intention before you do anything, you'll be waiting a long time. Right? But no, you can track. You can see, oh, here's the self-interest and here's the genuine sincerity as well. Oh, they're both going, okay, well, this is the one I want to support, but it's kind of normal that self-interest. All the while there's any vestige of self-referencing, there'll be self-interest. Of course there will. So I'm not going to go through all 8 right now because we don't have time. I do that in countless places elsewhere. But it's just to that sense of sort of decentering in some ways. I think our practice, if you want your practice to be integral, to be filled out into all the dimensions of your life, and to be potent and transformative in those ways, you need to decenter meditation. And then you could ask yourself, that doesn't mean you stop meditating. It means you ask yourself, what is your practice like aside from meditation? Where does your practice show up? Where do you recognize the aliveness of your practice aside from meditation? And if you don't really find anything, then you might want to really pick up the threads of some of these other things. Finding ways to be of service, volunteering in your local community. That's Dharma practice. Right? That's part of the Dana piece. How you encounter the homeless people that you meet where you live. How you navigate conflicts. Right? Sometimes conflicts with family or at work or whatever, they're complicated. You can't always make it go right. You can't make people like you. You can't talk people out of their own views necessarily, but you can conduct yourself with a certain graciousness and a certain spaciousness. You can keep your Dharma values at the forefront of things. However confused or angry or aggressive or accusatory somebody else is, right? Your practice is to keep remembering, wow, here's this person caught in their own confusion. And when you really see that, when you see that however badly somebody might be speaking to you or treating you, that they're really caught in their own confusion, then you can still, protect yourself, do what you need to do, remove yourself from the situation, report them to the police if it's really bad. But there's that capacity to do whatever you do with people in the negotiations of the world without blaming them, without demonizing them, without putting them out of your heart. And I understand that might feel like a tall order for some of you, or it might feel like a tall order with some people, whoever they are. But it's like, that's why it's called practice. We're not just expecting to be perfectly spacious and perfectly gracious, but it's the interest to be spacious and gracious, the commitment to that, to bring our best qualities of reflection and our best qualities of heart to our interactions. That's what makes it practice. So that's just sort of kind of concludes the week of reflecting on these different aspects of some misunderstandings that sometimes arise. And yeah, that's certainly one of them. And because we come together often for the purposes of meditation, like in this class, or like when you come on a meditation retreat, right? You come on a meditation retreat, you meditate all day. So one can be forgiven for thinking, that's what Dharma practice is. When I go to the Dharma center, we meditate. But also, of course, those who might be living in the Dharma center are doing a lot of other things other than meditating. I'm constantly reminded of that here at the Mulan. Just all the complexities that go on here, the administrative complexities and just the physical maintenance of the place, and trying to look after 30 bathrooms, which constantly seem to be springing leaks, and all of that stuff. And then just the dynamics among the 10, 12, 15 of us that live here. And then it's like, seeing that as practice. And then so the way we speak with each other, the way we eat with each other, the way we work with each other, the way we care for the land and the trees and the people that come, the way we navigate misunderstandings and confusions. Yes. All right, friends, we'll have a little more opportunity to reflect on that afterwards if there's any questions that you have. Meanwhile, let's sit together in meditation, because it's the morning. That's what we're here for. And it's a good way to start the day and kind of remind ourselves of being here and give ourselves the opportunity to bring that kind of fine reflection to the other moments of the day. So please take your seat for meditation. Won't speak much today during the meditation, having guided quite a lot the last couple of days. So just being sincere with your practice as you sit, coming into your posture, gathering and settling your attention. And however your mind is this morning, and however the world around you is, and however much your attention might keep bouncing off to this and that, just having the gentle, steady, clear willingness to keep on returning and returning, re-establishing yourself and re-establishing yourself right here. Here in this breathing body. Here in the immediacy of things. Here in the open space of awareness. Notice where your attention is. See if you're holding any unnecessary or unconscious tension. Maybe in your face or jaw or arms or hands or chest or belly or shoulders. And see if it can relax. And in doing so, if you can relax more into being here. Relax into an effortless awareness. All of your practice is in this moment. You're not moving towards anything, not seeking for anything. It doesn't matter what your mind's doing. What matters much more is just the way we're using each moment as a way to learn how to navigate mind more fluidly, more freely. Forgiving yourself for your wandering thoughts, your strange ideas, your niggling neuroses, your little compulsions. Just forgiving your mind, all its wanderings. And in that forgiveness, creating an atmosphere of friendliness and ease in which to rest and be present. Just like this. sensing and settling and softening again and again and again if necessary. More and more if possible. May all your practices be sincere and fruitful. May the inner compass of your heart point unwaveringly to liberation. And may we trust our deepest wisdom in how we meet life so as to be free within and from the conventions of the world. All right. So that was meditation. It's a little time for questions, if you have them. If there's anything you'd like to explore from this morning or from the week, from your meditation, from teachings, from anything and everything, it's all welcome. Yeah. And before I get into the questions, dana. It's Friday, which is the day when I bang the dana drum a little louder and reminding you, that it's only your dana, your donations, your support, your offerings, your willingness to use the power invested in your credit card to support Sangha Life. And it's, without that support, Sangha Life can't continue, and we'd like it to survive and to thrive and to grow and to keep supporting you and many other people and everybody else, the thousands of people that come here. And of course, even though thousands of people come every month, I don't know how many thousand people come to Sangha Life classes each month, but it's it's only a certain percentage, usually a quite small percentage of those that either feel able to offer dana or that follow through with their wish to offer dana. So I don't know what your situation is, but I know what Sangha Life's situation is, and I know that we need support. So if you're able to offer support, please do. You just can do that at sangha.live/donate. And that link is also in the email that you will have received to remind you about this session. So yeah, it's just a reminder. I'm the beneficiary of that. The teacher each week gets supported, so I'm grateful, appreciative of that. Sangha Live gets supported, which pays the many bills, the many thousands of euros of operating costs that it has every month. And it supports everybody who's therefore able to benefit from practice here. So thank you. I really appreciate the good heart that feels appreciative of what's happening here. And then that appreciation translates from the heart to the pocket and comes forth as dana. So thank you in advance. And what else in the way of announcements? 2 other things. One, I won't be here next year, but my friend and student and long-term deep practitioner and teacher James Raphael will be leading the week here. I think it's his first time leading a week of Sangha Live mornings, so please come along and benefit from James's clarity and kindness and guidance. And then the other thing is, I just wanted to point, I have a whole bunch of retreats going on here at the Mulan through the year. But I particularly have a retreat in June, which is just for experienced practitioners. It's called Breadth and Depth. And it's my favorite retreat of the year. It's where we just kind of get to dive in deep to different aspects of practice that I might not address usually in retreats where there's only beginners. There's meetings with me and there's teachings and instruction every day, but there's also a lot of chance to just take your cushion outside and sit under trees and use the natural world and the base of trees and the riverside as practice. And so even though we sit in the hall several times a day together, there's also just a lot of space to kind of find your own rhythm. So it's a really beautiful retreat. I think it's the 12th to the 19th maybe of June, and you can find that on the Mulan website. So yes, Kaz, there's space. Come along. Very nice. And there, I don't know, Claire, but there are plenty of other retreats in French this year. But yes, I did think maybe I would offer that. The retreat is full. Is it really? I don't think it is. It wasn't full a few days ago. There was a few places. There are some others that are full. Anyway, I don't know. You'll have a look on the Mulan website, but I'm pretty sure there is space on that. The first week is with me. Then there's a week with Ajahn Suchito, and there's no more space on Ajahn Suchito's bit, but I'm pretty sure there's still space on my bit. Anyway, have a look at the Mulan website. Let's look at some of your questions. Let me go back up to where the questions are. Adina, I would like to hear more about how not to drown in 30 toilets and 15 people. I'm not sure that's going to be my area of expertise. Where's how to navigate the outer stuff and not mostly get lost? Question coming from living with 7 toilets and a desire to share the house with more people. Oh, I see. I was talking about all the toilets. One thing I can say, Adina, is by not expecting things to go well. Expect everything to constantly be going wrong, because life is like that. It's not really that things are going wrong. It's just that they're going. Like everything, entropy is the nature of everything, right? And it's amazing how we project and expect stability. It's like, I fixed the toilet, therefore it should just work now. But yeah, for some time, and then something. So leaks, cracks, things going wrong. Often people will say, "Oh, how things at the Mulan?" And I say, "Oh, just the usual catalogue of 1,000 minor disasters every day." But I say that with a sense of lightness. And then when there are these 1,000 minor disasters, they're minor. It's a blessing that mostly they're only minor. And two, it's a way of just reminding oneself that that's what we can probably expect each day. And then when there's a day where there aren't many disasters and, everything is flowing along rather well and smoothly and conveniently, one can kind of delight in the temporary situation where everything is going well, while also not being fooled that that's normal. No, there is no normal. But expect things to go wrong and make that a practice. How do you react when things go wrong? Do you huff and puff and get into a whole lot of drama and resistance and blame? Or can you see how to be spacious and gracious? I'm often often mention how, sometimes when something happens that goes wrong, something that's inconvenient or uncomfortable. And my mother, where she would have said, something happened, she said, "Oh, typical. And it's like, well, what does that mean? It sort of means as if life's got it in for me. Oh, typical. Life's doing this to me. But life's not doing this to you. It's just doing this. So, it's a good example, right? Where was it? Adina. Just that sense of, the ordinary stuff of blocked toilets or just the stuff of life. Treat it as that's your altar, that's your cushion, that's your mirror, rather than that's a problem, that's etc. Yeah. All right, let's see what's next. My as you add comments, the chat box keeps jumping around, so I have to keep scrolling back to the questions. And now my scrolling's gone a bit funny. Okay, here we go. What's next? Oh man, the chat box is going mad. I can't find the questions. See, things are always going wrong. I really can't though. It's really unreliable this morning. Where are we? Oh, here we go. That was Adina. So next question, Eleanor. It was interesting as letting go of attention on thought felt very unsafe. The feeling was, where will awareness go if not on thought? Yeah. So get used to that, Eleanor. Even though it might feel disorientating, get used to just dropping thought. And where will it go? Let it. It's like let your awareness soak into your nervous system. It's one way of saying it. Or let your awareness sense just into the feel of being here, the aliveness of your cells, right? It's the feel of a breathing body. And then we find that at first we think that's physical or body breathing, but then no, it's more just energetic. It's like movement, the tide of breath and movement and sensation and heat and temperature. And then that's profoundly relaxing, not just muscularly, but it's like, it allows the thought apparatus to relax, allows the energetic currents, right, which is what's going on all the time, and allows that to relax and for things to just be more aligned and fluid and natural. And then we connect with the pleasure of being present, the relief, the ease, the openness. And then blah, 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 some thoughts are going on in the background. It's like, just fine, no problem. No need to be in any kind of conflict with them. Like that wonderful Leonard Cohen song says, the song's called The Smoky Life. He says, don't argue now, it's getting late. There's nothing to investigate. It's light enough to let it go. So sometimes we're busy often investigating. No, sometimes it's easier than that. Sometimes there's stuff that needs investigating, but sometimes you just drop it. Nice. All right, now I've got to navigate the unreliable chat box again. Let's go up to Ariane. Says, I'm burnt out, having ended up as an almost full-time carer following a series of family emergencies. getting hard to meditate. What might help me find more peace with finally putting on my own oxygen mask first, when I'm sure that my withdrawing means my parents' complex emotional needs will be less attended to when delegating. Oh. So there's a lot of that I just don't know, Ariane. I don't know. I can't tell you about putting on your oxygen mask first. You know, I can't tell you what your priorities are in terms of attending to your parents or attending to your own needs, right? It's true that as you use the oxygen mask image, right, that if you're not sufficiently resourced yourself, you can't be of any support to your parents. Right? You have to be sufficiently resourced to be able to give time and care and attention without, you know, otherwise you'll just get irritable and impatient and resentful, etc. And so therefore you have to see what is sufficiently resourced. Right? Some of us are very bad at, we just don't give ourselves sufficiently resources, and then you're tired and overstretched and overwhelmed and nearing burnout, like you say. Some of others of us, we go too far and we can never feel sufficiently resourced, even though we're busy doing lots of things for ourselves and making a lot of drama out of it. Right? So that's just a reflection, a kind of rather quiet, sober, gentle reflection. What do I need to be sufficiently resourced? And it might help, given your parents' complex emotional needs, and I don't know if they're nearly at the end of their lives or not. If they are, then you might remind yourself, oh, this is a temporary situation, you know, and it might be very frustrating and difficult. Some old people can be very frustrating and difficult, especially parents, right? And yet also, you know, there's that sort of some degree of karmic duty towards one's parents, and soon they'll be gone. And so just reminding oneself that it's temporary, and that these are the days. And even though you might find it hard work now, you might also be able to imagine that, oh, once they're gone, it'll be too late. And so the quality of care or attention you're able to give now is important. And yet if they're not at the end of life, and it's just that they're not particularly ill, but they've just got very complex emotional needs, then you might also have to reflect on at what degree you need to actually individuate more from parents and disentangle yourself from what may be an inappropriate degree of involvement and feeling of responsibility for their needs. So I just don't know anything like enough about the situation to get more into it than that. That's why I'm talking about those various possibilities, and I hope you can make use of those in reflecting. All right. I know there was a lot more questions. Or did we get to the end of them? I don't know. Like I say, the chat box has been bouncing around a bit. I did see some comments, although I've lost them now, from a few of you who are here for the first time. So welcome. Good. Please feel free to keep on coming back. And as I say, I won't be here next week, but James Raphael will. So friends, he's wishing you well. I hope the reflections this week have supported, a certain aliveness of practice and a freedom of view, because we easily get caught in narrow views, right? So thank you for your presence. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for the dana you've offered. Right? Keep going like that. And I look forward to seeing you. I'll be back here in a few weeks. I'll see some of you before that on retreats. So thank you. Take care.